Hey guys, it's Coach Joy back again with another lesson of encouragement and empowerment. So this lesson, here I am again. I was in prayer, finished up, and I heard Lodabar. Now, gave y'all my disclaimer before. Grew up in church my whole life, but I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was not working on my own soul salvation. I was not building up my most holy faith, all right? So when I hear these things in my spirit now, I know or kind of have an idea, but I don't know too much about it. So here I go looking up Lodabar. So pretty much the scripture that came up about Lodabar always comes up about a grandson of Saul named Mephibosheth, which I always jack up his name. Anyway, but in order for me to tell the story of Lodabar, I kind of had to do a little bit of background searching information, which brought me to the story of David and Saul. Now, the story of David and Saul, I feel like I've heard before, and I feel like I definitely relate to the story of David and Saul, because I feel like at some point in leadership, at some point on this journey of becoming who God has called you to be, you're going to encounter a Saul or two. So let me tell you a little bit of backstory. So Saul was the king, right? He took a liking to David. He realized that David was, strong, and David had a bright future, that David was up and coming, and that David could be a king, right? And so the thing that really stood out to Saul was that David had slew Goliath, right? So Saul is looking for David. He's going to take him under his wing. Let's just say that part. And so somewhere along the line, Saul became jealous of David. The people were like, they used to sing Saul's praises, like Saul is the best, Saul is the most anointed, Saul is the strongest, Saul is this, Saul is that. And then they began to sing the praises of David, like, David, wow, Saul, you did this, but David did this. David could do that. And I think that kind of made Saul, I know, Saul got jealous, right? However, David had become friends with Saul's son, Jonathan. And so the scripture I'm going to read you is 1 Samuel 19. And it says, Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to go and kill David. But Jonathan had taken a liking to David. They were friends, so he warned him. He went to him and was like, yo, my father is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard, all right? Like, look out for the cookout because it's about to go down. And so David used wisdom, and he went and he, was trying to be careful. Jonathan had spoke well of David to Saul, his father, and said to him, let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He was not wronged by you, and what he has done has benefited you greatly. He took his life in the hands when he killed the Philistine. The Lord won a great victory for all of Israel, and you saw it and were glad. Why then would you do wrong to an innocent man like David by killing him? Saul listened to everything Jonathan had to say. However, he said, as surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death, right? This is what Saul said. So Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation. He brought him to Saul, and David was with Saul as before. Once more, right? War broke out, and David went out and fought the Philistines. He struck them with such a force that they fled before him. But an evil spirit from the Lord came on Saul as he was sitting in the house with his spear in his hand. While David was playing the lyre, Saul tried to pin him to the wall with the spear, but David eluded him as Saul drove the spear into the wall. That night, David made a good escape. So even though Saul promised Jonathan that he wasn't going to touch David, something had still came over him, like something was still working in him. And he still felt some type of way towards David. All right. So that next day, he tried to send the men back to David's house to kill him. But Michal, David's wife, warned him, and if you don't run for your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed. So David had the instruction and the favor of God with him. So no matter how much this enemy tried to come up against him or attack him, he still was able to get away. So let me go down to let me come down to the end. Oh, wait. Let me go to the next one. So, Saul continued to try to kill David, and David still got away. And at some point in battle, Saul and Jonathan, the father and son, got killed. All right. So when Jonathan and Saul, when his father and him got killed, that meant that there had to be a new king. And so David was going to be assigned to be the new king. And so here is where we introduce the son who is living in Lodabar. All right. So the nurse who was watching Mephibosheth, which is Jonathan's son, Saul's grandson, knew that Saul and Jonathan had just got killed. And so she wanted to get the son to safety. She was his nurse, right? She was the person assigned to look out for him. What happened was definitely a mistake, but it still happened. She dropped him. And when she dropped him, he was then disabled for the rest of his life. So the first point that I want to stop and kind of work on is when the one assigned to help you hurts you. All right, y'all, we're going to take a little journey. That part in the story to me felt like, wow, but it was a mistake. She didn't mean to. It was something that really could have been prevented, but because she was so fearful, she operated out of her first instinct, which was to flee with this child, right? So here she is, that she's his nurse. She has been assigned to help him, but one of her mistakes has caused him to be hurt and now hindered in life. Because from him falling, the story says that his feet became lame and he was never able to walk again. So what often happens, we find ourselves in situations that weren't necessarily our faults. We were advised by something. We were given instruction by something. We were supposed to be being helped, but it wound up hurting us. And so it made me think about, in my entrepreneurial journey, it was this property that I really, really wanted, right? And so me being me, I went to the person who was assigned to help me at that time, which was my CPA. I went to my CPA and I asked her for her advice, and I asked her for some financial projections. I asked her for some, some hardcore numbers. Let's do the math on this. I gave her all the pieces that I felt like I needed to give her. And she was, going to give me the advice about this project or about this building. And so she came up with what I thought sounded like a good plan. And I, was going to execute it. However, in the process, some important pieces were left out. Some pieces that, let's just say, if they had been figured out the right way or done the correct way, I would not have wound up in a situation that I wound up in. This was not a very well structured financial deal. And I didn't realize that until I was already in it. It was almost as if the person who was assigned to help me hurt me. And what I realized from this situation is you don't always have to stay there. That hurt place, that mishap, that whatever does not have to be your final destination. It does not have to be the thing that you are forever known for. It just winds up being a part of your journey. But if you're not careful, you can stay in a hurt place too long and it will do more damage than it could do anything else. And so I say all that to say, on this journey, right? Whether it's life, whether it's marriage, whether it's parenting, whether it's entrepreneurship, you are going to encounter some pieces to the puzzle that are not going to make sense. What do you mean Saul wants to kill David? He was just singing his praises. He was just excited that he killed the Philistine, that he slew Goliath, that he was a mighty young man, that he was up and coming. What do you mean that he now wants to kill him? And let me tell you what will often happen. The very people who are singing your praises one day will oftentimes be the same people the next day, like crucify him, take him down. Get them out of here, because their hearts want you to do right or do good, but not better than them. Their heart wants you to prosper, but not more than them. And so they don't always have the purest intentions when it comes to you. So every time I look at this story about this nurse and about Saul, I look at how people who have been assigned to us, sometimes if it ain't the best situation, if it ain't the best circumstance, how they hurt you instead of helping you, and how they become jealous of you on your journey, and they become more of a foe than a friend. And so on this part of the story, because I think I'm gonna do like 2 more pieces, because I really want you guys to get the whole Lodabar piece and how they had to bring Mephibosheth out. I jack up his name all the time. But anyway, the one piece that I really just want to drive in is, so let's just say in modern day times that Saul was like a business coach for David. Right? I want you to remember that the person that is assigned to be your destiny helper in life is not being sent to create you. The person that's your destiny helper, your mentor, is not your idol. It's not the person that you worship. The person who's been assigned to be your destiny helper, your mentor, your coach, whatever, is only coming to cultivate what God has already put in you. It's only coming to cultivate those gifts and those callings, to help you see a little bit more clearer of, wow, okay, I can do this. Oh, this is already in me. I do already have this in my life. So I don't want you to get stuck there. I don't want you to feel like, wow, this person stopped talking to me. This person is now trying to slander my name. This person is now trying to discourage me. I don't want you to get stuck there, because they're only a cultivator, and you could get a cultivator a dime a dozen. If it didn't work out with that coach, it didn't work out with that leader, don't get discouraged. Keep going, because the gift and calling is already inside of you, and anybody can help you get it out of you. It does not have to be that coach. The second thing I want to point out is, even if somebody on your life's journey you feel like in your mind was assigned to help you, even if they did hurt you, even if they did drop you, even if they did neglect you, even if they didn't keep up their end of the bargain, it could have been your mama, it could have been your daddy, it could have been your family. It could really be these people that you feel like, dang, how come it never worked out with my family? How come I don't have the best relationship with my father, with my mother, with my sister, with my brother, with my cousins? How come my auntie always hated my mom's kids? Whatever it is, know without a shadow of a doubt in your mind that it had a purpose. It had a purpose. It's a part of your testimony. It's a part of your story. It's all for God's glory. You're going to connect with somebody. Your story is going to resonate with somebody, because somebody else has been where you have been. Somebody else has gone through what you have gone through. Somebody else's life helper has hurt them instead of helped them. However, they're still going to make it out on top. And I'm going to tell you more later.